All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the workshop. Sorry, I'm all out of focus here. Woo. Okay. So, I've got a cool new thing I want to show you today. It's this thing I've got right over here. The Densichron microphone preamp. Oh, as you can see there, I am speaking into the microphone preamp right now. Let's see, we do it like this. Yeah, so here I am. I'm speaking into my SM7B. It is going straight into the input, which I apologize, a little hard to see here. Let's let it focus. We've got the input section over here. It is microphone input transformer balanced, right? You know, we've got over here on the left an input pad for the microphone. Bop, bop, ba-ba-doo-ba-da-ba-day. If you got a condenser or something that's a little hotter than this SM7B, we got a phase switch. So we switch the phase switching. This is a 1/4 inch insert or DI point after the mic transformer. So you can plug in your 1/4 inch inputs that you want to put through the mic preamp. It's great for bass. It's great for all kinds of fun, you know, synth stuff or whatever. And then we have coming out here, the out is a balanced 600 ohm output, line output. Next to it, we've got a dramatic pad, a big pad on the output. And this is kind of for those conditions where you might want to overdrive the mic preamp a little bit. Let's flip that switch real quick. I don't know if you could even hear me at normal levels here, so we're going to kick it into the loud. That's my voice distorting with the pad engaged. Let's disengage that pad and go back to our other operating condition. So at this level, you can see here, the front panel, we have our first gain staging volume control, and over here we have a 4-step attenuator, which is the next stage. Both of these attenuators are pre the insert point, which we'll talk about later. There is a send and receive 1/4 inch TRS insert on the back of this mic preamp that in a moment I'll be demonstrating with the SP404 over there. But just going through the front panel, we've got calibration here, which is our first volume control. We've got the high pass filter. Let's go ahead and hear that real quick. So there it is engaged. Lose some low frequencies there. Bop bop boo ba da ba dee ba dum ba ba dee bip. And then we have our stepped attenuator. So let's play with these two attenuators real quick. Let's set this right here again so I can free up this hand. So let's back it. Hey now. Actually, before I do all that, I just want to show you the rest of the chain. So once we come out of the line output, we're going straight into channel 2 on my Tascam Model 12. The input gain is all the way down, receiving line level. The EQ is flat. The compressor is disengaged. I've got it sent into the reverb, and so I might turn some reverb on if I demo a little singing into it. And on channel 2, I do have the really nice compressor inserted just as a safety precaution. Ba ba ba. So we will get a little bit of compression on some of these. Oh, you can't see that very well or at all. But I'm monitoring that channel, and we are staying below the clipping point. And that is for this volume setting, which is kind of my starting point on this mic preamp for a relatively neutral but lots of gain, full sound. Of course, you know, we can lose the bass frequencies. But yeah, if we play with this this volume setting, so I'm going to back it up a lot with this one and play around with this. I might gain it up a little bit on the mixer just so we can hear what that sounds like. A check, check, hey, ba ba dee bop 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 ba dee ba da bop bop. So yeah, if you're into the idea of gaining it up after the fact, you can work with this super low setting, but for the most part, I like dealing with the higher settings, even this lower one. This attenuator and its steps came from the original circuit, and so they were really nice resistors, and there's maybe some line input applications where you would want those massive amounts of attenuation. So I left it because I thought it was kind of neat. These last two are sort of the most useful and interesting for taking a microphone, plugging it in, and getting a nice hot line level signal out of it. So in position 2, this is sort of my favorite operating point of the early volume stage. You can get a nice sound. It's deflecting the meter a good bit, and we are just barely kissing that compressor over there. You can see it just kind of jumping a little bit. Bop, bop. And that's at the top of this volume control and this one on this setting. So let's back that off a good bit and go into the final volume setting. Now we're living closer to the left side of the first volume control to get where we were before. We're kissing that compressor just a little bit. Bobbity-bay. We're deflecting the meter about like we were before, right? So this is all cool and copacetic. We start coming up, and we're going to start pushing into that compressor a lot more. This is where we're going to start to overdrive the tubes a bit as well. So this is the point where I might engage that pad and really start crunching it, really start turning up that volume control. You might gain up the channel a little bit, and hey, va-ba-dee-ba-da-bop-bop-bop-up, knocking that meter around. Yeah, you're knocking that meter. Yeah, you're knocking that meter around, knocking that meter around. Taking out the bass with the high-pass filter, bringing it back, bringing it back. And there we have sort of the basics of the Densichron mic preamp. We've talked about all the basic functions. There's also a high impedance 1/4-inch output on the back of this thing, which is fun and useful for running into your Tascam 4-track recorders and that sort of thing. Here in a minute, actually before I do... Yeah. So there's also an insert point on the back of this. This was also, like the stepped attenuator, something that was in the original circuit that I liked, that I decided to keep. This patch point, they meant it for hooking up a remote meter. They had all kinds of plans for this sort of thing that I'm not sure what all of them were about. But so I've got my SP404 hooked up with my left channel, which is the tip of that jack, is going into the left input. That's over here. And then the right, the ring, is coming out of the left output. And that's going to be our return on the insert point. So over here I've got my TRS. We're going to put it into the back in the insert point. Okay, silly me. I had that backwards. The tip went to the R, and then the sleeve went back to the other one. So now, here we are. All right, so set the input gain to 0 dB. Ba, ba, ba. Let's play around with that level a little bit. Okay, cool. Ba, ba, ba. So now let's get some. All right, and actually, let me just double check where we at. We're hitting that compressor a little bit harder. I'm gonna back the return off on the SP404. Ba, ba, ba. Maybe I'll back this one off a little bit as well. Ba, ba, ba. I don't want us to hear that compressor as much as I want us to hear what we're doing with the effects. So, let's pick an effect, right? My go-to, let's just do some reverb. Mess with the balance. Oh, ho, ba-ba-dee-ba. And so, like I was saying, this is now inserted before the final tube of the circuit. So our voice is being processed through the 6J7. 6J7 strapped as a triode into 6SN7 after this first volume control, and then this other volume control gets us through another triode stage, 6SN7, and through the send point. And so let's try some other effects. I like the delay, the tape delay, tape, 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 tape. Ain't that the way? Ain't that the way? Maybe a more time delay. Tap, 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 tap. Hey, don't you wanna know what they gotta know? Hey, don't you wanna know what they gotta know? Gotta tell you about it, tell you about it, tell you about it, tell you about it. I gotta tell you about it. I gotta tell you about it.
We got our, whoa.
We've got our voice pitch modulation. Whoa.
Don't mind me, I'm in the witness protection program. Ba, ba, ba. Right? I mean, that's pretty cool. Don't tell me that's not cool.
Don't try to tell me that's not cool. So right now we've got our voice processed through the tube, mic preamp, the SP404, and then it's going into the mixer with no effects processing. Just barely kissing that RNC compressor. So
that's what I've got to say about it.
Filter that, filter. That's pretty fun. And you get your resonance up, filter it. Use the built-in overdrive, of the SP404. Of course, and everybody knows. Apologies. Ba, ba. The SP404 compressor, right? Ba, ba, ba. That's a bit much, honestly. Hey, ba, ba, biddy, bum. I got a chorus effect. Let's see if we can raise depth. We've got a chorus effect. Right, so we've got our DJ effect there, which is one of my favorites. Let's see if we can get that right. Talking about it. Sometimes zig. Wada wada walla 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 walla. Ain't that the way? I don't know about you, but I know. Wow. All right. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, yes. Let's see. Is there anything more to say about this? I think just for kicks, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the insert point just to. Just want to allow us to focus on one thing at a time. And I want to use that direct input, the 1/4 inch DI spot, just to let y'all hear what that sounds like. All right, since I won't be able to use the microphone while I'm doing this, I'll go ahead and just say what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug in my Telecaster and just play a little bit into this thing, play with the levels, play with the high-pass filter. After a little bit of that, I'll probably plug that SP404 back into the insert point and add some delay and stuff and just have a little fun with it. So here is Telecaster dry into the Densichron mic preamp. Ha! All right, all right. Yes. And so there we have it. the Densichron. Once again, I'm going to unplug the insert. All right. And so we have the Densichron mic preamp. A lot of cool features. I think this thing just looks super rad. Sounds super great. It's got old RCA and Sylvania octal tubes in it. It's got a big, clean sound, and with that output pad, you can really overdrive this thing without fear of clipping your converters. High pass filter. We've got a DI point. For the microphone input, we've got pad and phase switches. On the back, we've got a high impedance, unbalanced 1/4 inch output. Run it into your tube amp. Put your guitar into it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Use this to use your fancy mic and run it into your Tascam or something else. And with the insert point, I used the SP404 because I use that for a lot of effects, and I think it's super cool for that. But you know, you could run that into all kinds of other stuff if you want to be using some guitar pedals on your microphones or whatever else. So, and because this stepped attenuator is the last thing that is active before the insert point, you can always attenuate the insert point send to an appropriate level for whatever piece of gear you're putting it into, which is a nice little feature about it. So yeah, that's the Densichron. I think it's pretty neat, and I've got a couple of these for sale right now. So check out the Reverb store, hit me up on Instagram, and we'll see you guys next time. Next time is when we'll see you guys.